What's up, people, and welcome back to Religion Camp. My name is Mark Gagnon, and thank you for joining me in my tent where every single Sunday we explore the most interesting, fascinating, controversial stories from every religion from around the world from all time. I'm joined by my dear friend Gabe. Gabe, what's up?
What's going on?
All right. So, guys, today we have a fascinating topic to dive into. I myself did not grow up Hindu. I didn't know very many practicing Hindus growing up, but I've become fascinated by this worldview. I've refrained from calling it a religion because I understand that it's more of a philosophy, a way of life, a study of consciousness that is wrapped up into one of the oldest forms of organized religious literature ever. And for that reason, I'm both fascinated, but also a novice in the area. So if there are any Hindus watching or listening, please feel free to comment if there's anything that I may have missed. But today we're jumping in to the story and the philosophy of Lord Shiva. Shiva is a fascinating deity, right? I mean, it's basically every contradiction that you could imagine all rolled into a divine being, right? This is a deity who destroys everything, but is also the one creating it. The hermit who wants nothing to do with the world, but is passionately and desperately in love with it. This silent meditator whose every dance steps to keep the entire universe spinning. Through stories that have been whispered and sung for thousands of years, Shiva emerges not just as a god people pray to, but as this incredible mirror that shows you the deepest truths about what it even means to exist. So let's start at the beginning, the divine paradox. So forget everything you know about gods or religion or anything like that for a second, okay? Shiva isn't sitting on some golden throne somewhere in heaven judging your life choices. He's something more mysterious and mystical than that. So there's this idea in some versions of Hinduism that effectively is a Hindu trinity, right? So you have Brahma that creates the universe, and Vishnu who keeps things running smoothly, and Shiva who ends things. But here's where you need to completely flip your understanding. When we say Shiva is the destroyer, we're not talking about some cosmic supervillain that destroys things for fun. I mean, have you ever seen like a forest fire? It's devastating, right? It's raw and unforgiving and absolute. Everything in its path will be destroyed. But then here's the divine, profound truth. From the very ashes of a fire, new life begins. Not just as a return, but like a resurgence, stronger, more vibrant, and more alive than the forest was before. And that is the essence of Shiva. He's the force that destroys not out of malice, but out of necessity, to clear what no longer serves so that something greater, something more essential can rise in its place. But here's what's really wild about him. He appears in these ancient texts not as like a one-dimensional character, but as this walking, breathing contradiction at times that somehow makes perfect sense. He's Adiyogi, the very first yogi, sitting in complete stillness high up in the Himalayas. But he's also this devoted husband to Parvati and a loving father to Ganesha. He's Nataraja, whose cosmic dance literally creates, maintains, and destroys the universe in one continuous flow. And somehow, he's also this silent teacher who can communicate wisdom without really saying a single word. You might think of like the yin and yang from Taoism, but Shiva takes this balance to a different level. He simultaneously is outside the world, but deeply within it, is terrifying, but also completely passionate and loving of humanity, completely wild and erratic, but extremely wise, and detached, but capable of love. And here's what's incredible. These aren't just dusty old stories and, old Vedic books. Right now, as you're reading these words, millions of people across India, and a matter of fact, across the world, are starting their day with the phrase, Om Namah Shivaya. This is a sacred sound that honors Shiva's presence in their life. And I apologize for my pronunciation. I'm sure that I'm not hitting that correctly, but for many Hindus listening, you'll know what I mean. Pilgrims are literally climbing dangerous mountain paths to reach a natural ice formation at Amarnath Cave, risking everything just to glimpse what they believe could be Shiva's presence. Families are gathering, staying awake all night in devotion. In India's dance performances, you'll see dancers embodying Shiva's cosmic dance with movements that have been passed down through generations, like almost like a family heirloom. And those bronze Nataraja statues that you'll see in different Hindu temples, they're not just museum pieces. They're this living focal point where people offer, flowers and lamps and candles and pour water while chanting hymns that are older than most modern civilizations. Even in modern cities like Mumbai and Delhi, tech workers and business executives will pause during their lunch break to visit Shiva temples. They're seeking a centered stillness that Shiva represents before diving back into, their crazy, fast-paced lives. It's like having almost like a cosmic reset button right in the middle of urban chaos. And this living dimension matters because it reminds you that Shiva's teachings aren't just philosophical ideas floating around. They are a practical wisdom that still helps many Hindus around the world navigate birth and death and success and failure, love and loss, just like they have for thousands of years. So let me tell you about one of the most fascinating stories in all of Hinduism, a tale that really establishes who Shiva is and how Shiva plays into the cosmic hierarchy. So you have Brahma, the creator of the entire universe, and Vishnu, the protector and the preserver, and they're having this heated argument about who's most powerful. And Brahma is basically like, look, I created everything, so obviously I'm the greatest. And Vishnu fires back, but I protect and I maintain everything. Without me, the universe would just collapse. You can make, but you can't preserve, and that makes me the most important. And as their argument gets more and more intense, suddenly this third presence manifests. But this isn't your typical divine presence. Shiva shows up as this cosmic column of just pure light. And we're not talking about, just bright light here. Imagine light so infinite that it stretches beyond the heavens and deep into the earth with no beginning or end. It's like a radiance that makes you forget what darkness even means. Then Shiva throws down this challenge. Find the top or bottom of this pillar if you can. And what follows is this epic quest it's almost comical in how impossible it is. Brahma transforms into a swan and flies upwards, trying to seek the top, and Vishnu becomes this boar that digs deep into the earth, searching for the bottom. And these are divine beings that we're talking about. They search for ages, literally eons, using every ounce of their cosmic power, but they could find no end. And here's where it gets interesting. Brahma, exhausted and sort of embarrassed, makes a crucial mistake. Instead of just admitting that he couldn't get to the end of the pillar of light, he conspires with a fallen Ketaki flower to lie about reaching the top. And this is a big mistake. When Shiva emerges from the pillar, he immediately exposes the deception. The punishment is swift and meaningful. Brahma is cursed, as he wouldn't be widely worshipped on earth, and the Ketaki flower was forever banned from Shiva's worship. But here's the deeper truth that transforms this from just like a cool ancient story into really profound wisdom. Shiva didn't prove his greatness through competition or force. He demonstrated that true divinity transcends the whole game of creator versus protector. And that infinite pillar, it represents the formless, limitless reality from which all things emerge, into which everything returns, sort of consciousness in and of itself. And this is why the lingam, often completely misunderstood in the West, just as almost a phallic symbol of sorts, carries a really profound meaning. It represents a formless absolute, just eternal presence beyond all creation. You could think of it, I guess, of how Christians might think of God the Father, just infinite, all things stem from God. It's a similar concept, and it's pointing to pure consciousness that supports everything you can see, touch, and imagine.